The big question on everyone's mind nowadays is, what is a satyr according to Lovecraft and various other authors of the mythos? Well, first off, they are clearly not the Greco-Roman mythical beings with a horse's ears and tail, or maybe a goat's ears, tail, legs, and or horns. The fundamental principle, however, of the classical satyr was that it was part human and part beast and behaved badly. It was always aggressive sexually, usually drunk, and so forth. Now, let's examine Lovecraft's tales, plus other similar related tales. One thing that's really clear from the mythos is that the human condition is seen as exceedingly plastic. Humans warp and change readily based on breeding or contact with the outside. Now, this isn't just your bodies. Your soul can be warped, as happens in Thing on the Doorstep. But satyrs, I'm going to say, are a case of not the soul warping, but the body. So let's get some cases. Now, in Frank Belknap Long's great work, The Hounds of Tyndalos, satyrs are actually mentioned. Near the end of the tale, a character who's being hunted by the hound says he knows the satyrs will help the hounds to break through to him. This indicates that the satyrs are a real thing, that they are malign, and they are supernatural. Now, Lovecraft's ghoul is one of his best-known creations. I did a whole video on these things. Now, the relevant facts for our discussion here is that, like a satyr, a ghoul has both animal and human characteristics. It has some dog-like trends, it has hoofs, so it's kind of a mix, but it's a hybrid abomination, right? But we also know from Lovecraft that a human can become a ghoul, and that a baby ghoul raised by humans is human in outward appearance. In other words, ghouls and humans are the same species, somehow modified by dark magic or perhaps the moral evil that comes from eating dead human flesh. Now, I also have a video about deep ones as well. I think it was the second ever video I did, so don't be too harsh with criticisms if you go and see it. Let us talk about deep ones. It is what it is. I don't have anything to add to it, except the deep ones are a construct of Cthulhu designed to breed with us. Now, when they do, their descendants, the children they have with humans, start out looking human, but they deteriorate over time and eventually end up as full-blown deep ones. This doesn't happen just with their direct children, but down the line. In one story, a great-great-grandson finds out he has the Innsmouth taint. It's brought on by a mental shock, so there's a mind part too. This means that he only had about 6% deep one blood, which is evidently enough to bring about the transformation. Again, humans seem easy to mutate into the other. Now, in Lovecraft's tale, The Dunwich Horror, a woman mates with Yog-Sothoth, the outer god, and has 2 children. One of the children, Wilbur, can pass for human for a time when he's fully clothed, but it's not perfect. Like, by the age of 15, Wilbur was 9 feet tall and showed no signs of stopping growth. Anyway, his brother was even less human, and in fact, was usually invisible. But the point is, both Wilbur and Junior were half human and mixed with Yog-Sothoth's plasm, which created amazing monsters out of the human form. Now, in Ramsey Campbell's story, who loved Lovecraft, and this is the Lovecraft pastiche in a sense, the horror under Warrendown, people are turned into rabbit-like monsters by eating the fruit of the green god. Now, this tale is kind of comical, but also horrific. My point here is that just eating the wrong food turns humans into half-beast creatures. Now, in Arthgraph's tale, Arthur German, a man has sex with an ape, and his descendants carry on the taint for generations. In The Lurking Fear, the horrifying monsters are the result of inbreeding for generations. In The Rats in the Walls, while there's also probably inbreeding taking place, more awfully, it seems that the Delaporte family was selectively breeding humans as cattle. Incidentally, The Rats in the Walls is a terrific story. It has one big flaw for modern readers, which is the name Lovecraft chose for the narrator's pet cat. It was not that unusual in the 30s. I'm not defending it, Lord knows. But anyway, if you can bleep over the cat's name, the rest of the tale is really good. You know, take a felt tip pen and blacken it out if you like. Now, I'm not defending Lovecraft's attitudes on race here. Just saying that Rats in the Walls is, in fact, not a racist story. It's a regular horror story that has a cat with a racist name. A hideously inappropriate name by modern standards. My point here is that inbreeding, selective breeding, mixture with outside creatures, all of these things, according to Lovecraft and his friends and followers, produce hideously distorted half-human monsters. And what is a satyr but a hideously distorted half-human monster. Therefore, I submit to you that the best approach to Lovecraft satyrs, who never appear by that name so you can see them, is that they are a mass category describing any human who has been devolved by magic, ancestry, or outside contact into a semi-monstrous form. I would argue that technically ghouls and deep ones are probably subcategories of satyrs, though they're so well established and consistent they could also be considered their own group, and usually are. But the spawn of Yog-Sothoth, Arthur German himself, the Lurking Fear, they're all various repulsive hybrid monsters, and I'd argue that these are how we should treat the satyrs of Lovecraft. Do they have horns and hooves like the Greek kind? Sometimes, probably. It probably depends on the satyr and its origin. So here's the art I use for the satyrs that appear in our game Evil High Priest. It has horns and I guess kind of goatish legs. Who knows what this satyr's origin was? The mutagenic mother's milk of Shub-Niggurath? A dreadful taint from beyond? But whatever it is, the bottom line is I can't tell you the abilities and powers of satyrs because every kind of satyr has a different source. The bottom line here is that satyrs have traded in their humanity and turned physically into a monster for their passions. It's a cautionary tale. And really, I think there's a parallel. You see, in modern times, what we have is what I would think of as a mental satyr, a person who let his intellect and his emotions destroy his mind and soul and personality and filled his soul with hate. We see it a lot now. Like me. Sign up, subscribe to me, get notifications if you like, and remember to check out my website where you can get awesome things like this right now. Thanks.